FC Porto are a massive club in Portugal and have one of the most crazy fan bases known in football. However, they do tend to do football a little bit differently when it comes to transfers, as they are one of the biggest clubs to adopt the Moneyball approach. And that is exactly what we're going to be doing here today on Football Manager 2024, using all the spreadsheets, using the filters, the squad views. I'm going to show you guys a Moneyball rebuild of Porto and try to take them back to Jose Mourinho's winning Champions League days as one of the biggest clubs in Europe. So strap yourselves in, because this rebuild simply is like no other. It is my best rebuild to date, and we're going to take Porto back to the very top of football. So I should probably let you guys in on the secret of Moneyball and how you can use it in Football Manager. And you can see right in front of me is the player search screen, and it might look a little bit different to your one because we've got a player search view here where it shows every single individual statistic, like expected assists per 90 minutes, sprints per 90 minutes, goals, average rating, passes completed per 90, loads of ridiculous stats which we're going to be using to build the perfect Porto team. Now, I cannot take credit for this wonderful search view and this wonderful squad view. I mean, I can a little bit for this. I've adjusted the natural one to be this one, but you'll find all of the information you need on Moneyball, how you can use it, how you can get the spreadsheets from the video I released on Wednesday. So if you are looking to use the Moneyball approach after watching this incredible rebuild, there is a video already done, step-by-step guide, exactly how to use Moneyball, because as you look at my screen, you look at these different search criterias, it looks absolutely mental, and I completely agree. So I've done lots and lots of research into it to figure out how you can use it on Football Manager, and it's absolutely unbelievable. It's probably going to completely change the way I do rebuilds in the future, how I play Football Manager on stream in the future. Everything will change because of what Moneyball can go ahead and do. Now, just looking at this Porto team, the team we have got for season number 1, we've got Diego Costa in goal, João Mario at right back, Vendel at left back, Marcano, Pepe at centre back, Varela and Nico at CDM, Pepe right wing, Galleno left wing, Namaso/Danny Loader in cam, and Taremi up front. And of course, one of the best things about managing in Portugal and managing Porto is the unbelievable youth systems we have here at the club. Players like Diego Costa have come through the academy, João Mario, Evan Nielsen's been brought from Brazil and is an absolute superstar, going to the development centre, and there is just countless players who are just simply unbelievable and going to have the potential to go to the very, very top of football. So we're going to have a great time in this rebuild with Wonder Kids, etc. But the main point of what we're doing here is to try and rebuild Porto using the Moneyball approach. It means finances wise, this 8 million should hopefully go up a fair bit over the course of this rebuild. The next 5 years, we're going to be selling players for lots and lots of profit and buying players very, very cheap. So when a player reaches their sort of max value of what we think we can sell them for and there is interest in them, we will say ta-ra to them, go and find someone for 2 million quid that's going to do the exact same job. And I'm going to show you it actually works in Football Manager. You might not believe it, because you might think stats mean absolutely everything, but actually in-game performance can have a massive role in how players actually perform in your team. We're going to go out in this rebuild and sign players that I have never seen in my life, never heard of, that are like $1 million in the second tier of Poland, and they're going to come into Porto in the Champions League and score like 20 goals in a season. It's ridiculous what this Moneyball approach can go ahead and do. So what we're going to do is go into it for the first season. Now, I've not set up the start of January for this season because I didn't want to bug out the sort of spreadsheet we're going to use to find the Moneyball players, etc. I wanted to have a full season of statistics. So Porto in real life are currently sitting third behind Sporting and Benfica. So a little bit of a shame we can't do that, but I wouldn't be able to get transfers for season number 1 if we didn't do that. So we're going to go right into it, season 1, and see what we can do as Porto. Now, I imagine we're going to dominate Portugal for the next 5 years. There is under no illusion that we're looking to do that. We're going to win every single league. I imagine, hopefully, anyway, if this rebuild goes well. But if not, then we've got some work to do. But the main goal is to win the Champions League. I'm going to take it back to when Mourinho won it with Porto, and that is the goal of this rebuild, as well as using the Moneyball approach. So let's get into it. I'm rambling. Season number 1, how are we going to go ahead and do? So to kick things off at the start of the season, then Benfica got one up on us in the Super Tacker Candido de Oliveira de Vodafone, and they went ahead and won 4-3, and we didn't win the sort of initial cup in Portugal, which is a little bit of a shame, but not the end of the world. They then go to the Allianz Cup, where Portugal clearly loved their sponsors, and we went ahead and beat Boavista on penalties in a 1-1 game. Daniel Namaso scoring for us, Diego Moraes for them, but Nico got a red card, and it was a much tighter game than we probably would have liked, but we did go ahead and win that one on penalties, which is lovely to see. We then go to the Taça de Portugal, which I believe is like the FA Cup equivalent, and the other one is the Carabao Cup. We went ahead and won this one 3-0 against Vitória Guimarães. Pepe, Taremi, and Ivan Geme with a 3-0 victory. And in the Liga Portugal as well, we did go ahead, and of course we went ahead and won it on 87 points, just 2 points clear of Benfica and 14 points clear of third place Sporting. A very, very good season. Mediterranean absolutely smashed it. Galeno, João Mario, Sadido, Sanusi, João Mario with 17 assists, and we'll go through individual stats in just a second, and I'll go through why I'm keeping certain players, why certain players are leaving, all in just 2 seconds time. But this season, of course, we scored 109 goals, considered just 29 goals, and we're simply ridiculous on the front foot. Sadly, Mediterranean is leaving the club on a free transfer. He is off to Manchester United. Didn't want to renew his contract, wouldn't talk to me at all, which is an absolute shame because he's the sort of player that you definitely keep around, and sort of is definitely sort of the Moneyball approach. Now, obviously, they paid 4.4 million for him from Rio Avenue for he scored 18 goals in 30 games there, and then obviously coming to Porto in real life, and he's been one of these standout strikers in Europe over the last few years. Sadly, with the Moneyball approach, you're meant to sell them for big money. We've lost him on a free contract, which is my fault. Apologies. Taremi is gone. Now, as we look through the team, players were absolutely fantastic. Like I said, João Mario, a 7.47. David Carmo, a 7.03. Sanusi, a 7.51. The midfield with a 7.14 average. 7.38 for Andre Franco in Cam. Danny Lamasso / Daniel Loader, as I know him at from Reading, a 7.44. Was unbelievable this season. 49 games, 22 goals and 13 assists. Now, I've got to say, I've not heard much of him since he left Porto and was tipped to be, since he left Reading, and was tipped to be one of the superstar players in the world at that point when he left there. And it looks like he went to the Porto B team, smashed it for a few years. Has taken a while to take the step up into Portuguese full league, but this season for us, my lord, was he fantastic. 15 goals in the league, 9 assists and 4 player matches. A 7.52 is fantastic for Daniel Loader. And on the bench, players to keep an eye on as well. Of course, we've got a guy called Pepe here, who is our winger. Now, this guy, I don't think we're going to be keeping around, and we're going to be looking to sell on. And the reason we're going to go that, as he absolutely smashed it this season, which sounds very, very odd if you're looking to play Football Manager. You don't sell your best players. But let me take a little bit of explaining. This guy played 38 games, 14 goals, 6 assists, a 7.13 average rating. Has got a value between 35 and 47 million pounds, but he is wanted by PSG and Al Nassr. So we're going to be able to get a fair bit of money for him if them two are interested in him. And we've got a certain player in on loan at Francisco Coenchao from Ajax, who has got a value to purchase of 8.6 million pounds. So this guy played 22 games last season, 15 off the bench, 9 goals and 6 assists, and got a 7.17 average rating. So, using the Moneyball approach, we're going to go ahead and we're going to purchase Francisco Coenchao for 8.6 million, go ahead and sell Pepe for 40 million. We've made 32 million pounds and we've not lost a star player, because we're going to just replace Francisco Coenchao as the backup winger, move him into the first team and make a little sort of like a Ferris wheel of players which are going to come in and out, in and out. All the superstars are eventually going to leave this team. There will not be many of these left at the end as they go on to be at the peak of their powers and absolutely smash it in Europe. They're going to be wanted by clubs like Bayern Munich, by PSG. Lots of Saudi teams are going to be interested in our players, and there's not a lot we can do to stand in the way. So we might as well take the big bucks, the 50 million, the 40 million. In Portugal, that is a lot of money, and replace them to players for less than 10 million pounds. And I'm going to show you it genuinely works, an absolute treat, because you can find some bargains out there if you search correctly using Moneyball. Now, as we look at the finances over this first season, we made a lot of money. We were on 8 million at the start. We're now on 99 million pounds. We've got a lot of money to go ahead and spend. 50 million quid, 30k in wages. But like I said, we're not going to go out and splash all that at once. We're going to be using the Moneyball approach. And as I open up this beautiful Excel spreadsheet, this is the players that Football Manager has recommended based on certain criteria, like played enough minutes, got enough minimum average rating, plays in certain leagues. We have gone ahead and sort of exported that onto an Excel spreadsheet. Again, step by step on how to do this is in the video on Wednesday. If you want to use Moneyball approach, go ahead and watch that because it will help you out absolutely massively. And I use this beautiful percentile screen. I'm going to go ahead and sign players just from what the percentile screen and what Excel tells us based on Football Manager. You can see there is 272 players in every single position that fit the criteria that have been good enough. Now, this is going to be great fun. You're going to see some players you've never heard of before come into this team and absolutely smash it. So let's go ahead and do the first transfer window for FC Porto. So outgoings first, as mentioned, Pepe has left the club for a grand total of £37.5 million to PSG. He's been joined by Galleno, who has also gone to PSG for £43 million. Andre Franco has left to go ahead and play for Bordeaux for £10 million. Tony Martinez, after a fairly average season last season, has gone ahead to Al Ittihad for £27 million. And the final big sale is Stefan Estucio from Canada, also going to Al Nassr for £29 million. So you can see what we've done. Players that performed well last season, above a sort of a certain age, that are reaching their absolute max, have left the club, and it's time to go ahead and sign some youngsters that are going to absolutely fit the bill. And the first two signings we have made already here at the club on loan from Ajax. That is Jorge Sanchez, a Mexican right back who is absolutely fantastic, and we picked up for the bargain fee of £3.4 million, an absolute no-brainer. If we were to sell him today, we'd get £6 million from him. He's consistent, he's very quick, and using the style we are playing with attacking wing backs, he's got great crossing, great first touch, and great determination, and he is a brilliant signing for that small price. And of course, Francisco Coensao came in as well for that £8.6 million, already a value of up to £30 million. He's an unbelievable player, and is such a top talent. Obviously was at Porto before moving to Ajax, and has come back after a failed spell at Ajax, and he smashed it for us last season. Hopefully this season he can carry on absolutely smashing it for us. Now, the other signing that come in from Porto, which was already done before we come here, was a guy called Kenny D, or Kenneed. This guy looks absolutely awful and will not be touching the field ever again. Matteo Caicedo is the other one as well, and is the exact same as the Kenneed guy. Will never be touching a field again. Looks absolutely horrendous with no potential whatsoever. Now, signing number one is a signing that I have made on lots and lots of rebuilds, but he came up in the search criteria and was simply too good to turn down. That is Martin Bacharinia. This guy scored 6 goals, 7 assists in 32 games last season with a 7.48 average rating in Croatia. Signed for £19 million. This isn't one I'm massively proud of when I found a superb wonder kid. This guy is well known. I'm not going to gas myself up for finding one of the best wonder kids on the game, but for the bargain price of £90 million, already we can sell him on for double that. The only thing that worries me, his consistency. Let's hope he can grow into a consistent player. Now, the first person I have signed, who I've got no idea who he is a geezer called Koba from South Africa. This guy is £2.5 million. He is extremely quick, very determined, good flair, a little bit inconsistent, but great dribbling, great first touch, great passing, great technique. Signed for £2.5 million after having a 7.04 average rating in our league, which I think is absolutely fantastic. It's a bit of a bargain, and I have to say, in this first season, I wasn't 100% sure on how Moneyball worked, and I think I took a few too many big steps and hoping people would come in and absolutely smash it when they probably weren't good enough. But someone like Koba is someone I took a risk on, and £2.5 million, who knows what he can go ahead and do. Now, signing number two of the Moneyball approach realistically is Thiago. This guy's a Brazilian striker who, again, I've never heard of. I don't know if I've got awful ball knowledge, but this guy, fantastic. 17 heading, great finishing, decent physicals, decent mentals. Signed for £13 million after signing for £7 million to Club Brugge. He's been playing in Brazil, moved to Bulgaria, moved to Club Brugge, and in 29 games got 17 goals and 2 assists and 7.07 rating. I think he's going to be absolutely fantastic. He's consistent. He loves big matches. He's just 23 years of age, and him and Evan Nielsen can now rotate because someone like Tony Martinez and Taremi have both left. So 2 Brazilians to link up as our strikers, rotating off of each other, is going to be absolutely pivotal. Signing number 3 of the Moneyball approach is Tobias Gilkison from Bodo Glimt. Another one which is very, very well known, but last season you're up to 7.43 in Norway, and for £4.2 million, do not blame me for signing a guy like this. He is absolutely fantastic. A value of £36 million. Can play in cam, in centre mid, or on the wings, and is going to be an absolute superstar for us. He has come through in Norway at Stormsglatt, moved to Bodo Glimt, and he's been absolutely smashing it. So for us, a superstar signing, and one I'm very, very happy to go ahead and bring in. Vladimir Brashko is a signing I have made from Ukraine, signed from Dynamo Kiev. He was a signing for just £4.8 million after last season, playing 26 games, 3 3 goals, 2 assists, a 7.03 average rating. He is a central defensive midfielder and is a very, very good one at that as well. Great physicals, 17 determination, I absolutely love. He has got the big match personality as well. Very good defensively, 6 foot tall and an absolute bargain at just £4.8 million. And my last signing is Luis Cruz, who again, I have never heard of, but looks absolutely fantastic. His parent club is Sevilla, but he was out on loan in the second tier of Spain last season. And one stat in particular stood out to me: 17 assists in one season and 5 goals. 9 Pro the matches, absolutely ripped up the second tier of Spain. And for £2.5 million, I would not be surprised if this value absolutely shoots up after a few games. He's consistent. He absolutely loves big matches. And for you guys that don't know who this guy is, exactly like me, 16 agility, 16 dribbling, 16 first touch, 17 technique, 16 flair, and 15 determination. Just go and find out who he is on your save and see if he has turned into an absolute superstar. And that has left the squad looking like so. Diego Costa in goal, João Mario, Cardozo, Carmo Zanussi, Nico Varela, Francisco Coensao, Martin Bacciarina, Daniel Oda, and Evan Nielsen up front. And mainly this season, we have gone ahead and brought in backups. And like I said, I was getting to grips with the Moneyball approach. This is the first season I've ever used Moneyball. So I think I've done okay. Judge me down in the comments down below. How have I done in season 1? We have kept £80 million in the transfer budget and we've spent all our wage budget. But one thing with Moneyball, don't worry too much about wages. It's about the sort of signings you go ahead and make for money. That is the massive thing. Our balance has shot up to £125 million. We are absolutely smashing it in that terms of things. And obviously this season, we are in every single competition and we will be in all of these competitions for the whole of the rebuild. So the 4 cups and the Champions League, or the 3 cups, the Champions League and the Liga Portugal. What can we win in season 2? Can we take another step in the Champions League? From quarterfinalists against Arsenal, can we move on to the semi-finals, or are we going to stagnate in the quarters? So this season we went ahead and won the Super Taça. We got semi-finaled in the Allianz Cup by Braga, runners-up in the Taça de Portugal Placard, and knocked out in the quarterfinals again of the Champions League by Manchester City before winning the league with Porto, which is a decent season. But I have to stress, like I said, with the Moneyball approach, I think I sort of maybe overestimated it just a tiny bit with how players will achieve if their stats when we don't deliver meet that. Like Luis Cruz playing in the second tier of Spain. Didn't really make the step up into this. 6.45 average rating, played 206 minutes. Koba, who looked fantastic. Look at his stats, they weren't absolutely brilliant. 379 minutes, which isn't too bad to be fair. And if I was actually playing the games and not simulating like we do in these rebuilds, he may have got a lot more game time, just 3 goals. But I suppose that's a goal every 120 minutes, so not too bad. And then Vladimir Brzezisko as well, 525 minutes. 6.9 average rating isn't awful, but because Nico and Varela are both so strong, he didn't get too many minutes. And I have to say, season 1 of the Moneyball approach wasn't my best season. It does get a whole lot better from here as I start to understand it a little bit more. I was learning on the job. Please forgive me, but you're going to see by the end what absolute magic this can make. Now, in terms of the actual team this season, Bacciarina, who did start pretty much every single game, got a 7.10 average rating, as did Tobias Gudikson, who got a 7.04 with 12 goals. Them two's values has been fantastic and already are massive prospects as we were to go ahead and sell them. Danny Loader this season was absolutely stupid. 25 goals and 13 assists in 48 games, 7.47 average rating. It is wanted by clubs like Al Nassr. Value of 41 to 49 million. Is that the most we'll get for him? We'll have to see who the outgoings are in just a few seconds time. And Thiago, our striker we signed from Club Brugge, was brilliant this season. 23 goals and 2 assists in 28 games, 7.18 average rating, doing pretty much the exact same as what Evan Nielsen did, which is exactly perfect. 27 starts for Evan Nielsen, 24 goals, a 7.02. So to have them two sharing the load, neither unhappy, is the absolute dream. Having 2 strikers that are going to go ahead and score you lots of goals is brilliant. But someone that I have to touch on is João Mario. This guy got 20 assists and 11 goals in 46 games this season with a 7.47 average rating. And the other left back, Azadi Sanusi, got 10 assists, 6 goals and 7.43 average rating. So maybe this tactic is a little bit good when it comes to how the wing backs perform. And you can really see that as well in the Excel spreadsheet. When you go ahead and use it and you do put all them players into the spreadsheet, your own players come up on the spreadsheet, and continuously I kept finding João Mario, Sanusi, Daniel Oda, Gilkerson, Nico, Varela, always every single season in this spreadsheet, obviously, that I was creating, because they're going into the spreadsheet still with 7.47 average rating. They're going to be quite high up the list, and I already can't buy them because there are players, which is fantastic to know. But yeah, this season, a little bit disappointed with how I done personally in the Moneyball approach with signing players, but like I said, it does get better from here. And in terms of development centre, we loaned out a few players. Gonçalo Borges, we're trying to sell, but he has smashed it over at Southampton this season, a 7.1 average rating, and might even get some game time next season. Value of £37 million though, we get anywhere near that, he is certainly going to be leaving at 24 years of age. And Bernardo Fola as well, 36 games, 4 goals, 6.96, which is decent, but in the second tier of Portugal is not the best. In terms of finances, things are going well, £139 million, pretty much the same as last season, but we've probably got some players now that are going to go ahead and move on to lots of money. So let's see season 3. So our superstar Danny Namasso has left the club to go ahead and play for Al Hilal. The sale was a big one of £56 million, which I'm not surprised about. After 2 seasons of a 7.52 and a 7.4 rate, I was 99% sure he was going to go ahead and get snapped up. I'm surprised he's not been capped for England yet, but I hope to see Danny Loader go ahead and smash it over there, and I hope to see him on future saves of mine as well, because I've never given this guy a chance, but he looks to absolutely smash it in our save. And the other big sale is the man I've been talking about this whole time, the superstar right back, João Mario, who has now got a value of £212 million, and he obviously would not have that value if we were managing in Portugal, because we sold him for just £50 million. But after the 2 seasons he has had, a 7.68 and a 7.66, I'm not surprised Arsenal have gone ahead and picked him up, and I hope again he goes ahead and absolutely smashes it. What a player, he looks fantastic. Gonçalo Borges, who I mentioned earlier as well, has at the club to go to Al Ali. He was sold for just £20 million, but a decent sale on my behalf. I'm quite happy to get rid of him. He was probably not going to be good enough for the first team, even though he has done okay in terms of progression. I went ahead and tried to go my own route. Fabio Cardozo's at the club for £9 million to Union Berlin, which is a fantastic sale. He was signed for £1.9 million from Santa Clara. We've signed him for 8.25, and he's 31 years of age. So great sale, Kempi. I am very, very happy with that. Ivan James has at the club for £7.5 million to Bayer Leverkusen. He was someone that Porto actually played £8.5 million for from Familiar. So a little bit of a loss there. Not the greatest of sales, but to be fair, also not the greatest of players, and someone that I would have picked up myself. And the last signing to mention about is Vendel, the left back. He's 32 years of age and was signed for £3.4 million by Leverkusen. He's done very well over the last 2 years, being our backup left back. He's now gone to Spain for £7 million. So a very good sale for us, and one I'm very, very happy with. He's a top player, but at the age of 32 has reached his highest value. So to the pops, Vendel, I hope you go and enjoy yourself. So we brought in £150 million of players, and we signed just under £100 million worth of players, which is a lot, but there's lots of players to go ahead and come in, like Nicolas Fonseca, who's come in. This signing is a bargain, £12 million from River Plate in Argentina. He has had 3 very decent seasons over there and looks absolutely fantastic. He's extremely consistent, loves a big match, and a great young DM, 26 years of age from Italy. Very good value. Very happy to bring in someone like Nicolas Fonseca. A guy I've never heard of in my life is Lithuanian centre-back Edgaras Utkas, and this signing is one that, again, I am very, very happy with. He was over at Cercle Bruges in Belgium, and a season of a 7.15, 2 goals and 4 assists, and looks like a very well-rounded, decent centre-back. Absolutely loves big matches, is consistent, and is more than good enough to come in and be our backup centre-back, because I have gone ahead and signed a superstar centre-back in Sebastian Baselli. This guy looks absolutely unbelievable. 31 to 39 million pounds of value already, with 16 heading, great pace, decent defensive stats, can also play at right back, and signed for just 14.45 million pounds. The one I'm very, very happy with. And again, coming up on that spreadsheet like an absolute joke. I'm very, very happy to see Sebastian Baselli come in. Alexandra Terzic is the next signing coming in from RB Salzburg. A very, very good left back. Looks like an absolute superstar, and one that can certainly battle with Sanusi. An average rating last season of 7.21. Season before a 7.39 after joining Salzburg from Fiorentina. We've picked him up for £12.25 million, a value already of around 20 million quid, and one I'm very, very happy with to go ahead and get as well. And he's very quick, very determined, very good crossing, dribbling and defensive stats as well. And just 25 years of age, I'm sure can be an absolute superstar for us. Luca Langoni is my next signing, and the one I've brought in to hopefully try and replace Danny Loader. And I think based on them stats, he can do a pretty pretty good job. He's consistent. He doesn't like big matches, which I'm not a fan of, but with 18 determination, 16 composure, 14 finishing, 15 dribbling, unbelievable pace. And as we actually compare him to Danny Namasso himself, he really does look good in some key areas as a winger, with 17 speed, 14 mentals, a little bit worse in physicals, same vision, 1 less out of the attacking stat, 2 less out of the technicals, and 5 less in aerial, but signed for just £15.5 million. When you think we let go of Danny Loader for over triple that amount, I'm very, very happy with that replacement, and I hope he can absolutely smash it, because at River Plate last season, 11 goals, 5 assists, a 7.56. Boca Juniors, sorry, not River Plate. That is a big mistake to make. I'm sorry, Boca Juniors fans. Big up Langoni. He's a Boca Junior through and through. Do not hear it from me about River Plate. Next signing to see if he can also help him out is Nazar Volyashin, the Ukrainian winger with 16 flair, great acceleration, great agility, great dribbling, great first touch, great technique. Also comes in for a bargain fee of £11.5 million through the Dynamo Kiev Academy. Looks brilliant, already a value of £42 million, and hopefully he can be a superstar for us. And the last signing to replace João Mario had to be a superstar, and Raul Belanova is the man I brought in. He's consistent, he loves big matches, very quick, 14 crossing, 14 dribbling, decent defensively, very determined. £23.5 million is the absolute max I'm going to be trying to spend in this rebuild, but one I thought I would go ahead and do because João Mario was such a key part of our team. It had to be a superstar in that right back role, which means the team is starting to look a little bit different with Diego Costa in goal, Belanova, Boselli, Carmo, Sanusi, Nico and Varela, Langoni, Bacciarina, Volyashin and Thiago up front. The same 5 competitions this season. What can we bring home for FC Porto? Well, I want to very quickly mention the Patreon members on screen right now, the absolute legends that are running across the screen right now. Thank you so much for the support recently on Patreon. Obviously on Patreon you get access to these rebuild files for every single rebuild we go ahead and do, whether it's the end of season 5 or the end of season number 1. The files are available on Patreon. If you want anyone in between, feel free to drop me a message and I can send it to you, no problem at all. And obviously as well, it helps me out massively. Anything that goes on Patreon pretty much goes back into the content, into the setup, into the headset, the mic, the camera, the lighting. I am massively thankful to anyone that can support on Patreon. So if anyone wants to, the link is just down below. But without that, let's get into season number 3, which was a top season. I want to get a few highlights into this video as well, just to show you this ridiculous tactic. Belanova, being the very attacking wingback, is right up there, putting the ball in the back of the net before a nice corner ball whipped in. Nico getting down on the rebound to make it 2-0. And a nice build-up goal here. Konchal dribbling around his man, ends up falling to Nico. Bacciarina finds a great ball through to Volyashin, who bursts through the defence and finishes it into the back of the net. And that was the League Cup final, a lovely 3-0 victory against SP Braga, and one I'm very happy to go ahead and win. After last season not winning that, I wanted to go ahead and get it back. Just like the Super Tacker, which I wanted to get back as well. We won this game 2-0 against Moriense. Langoni with the first goal, the winger we brought in to sort of replace Daniel Loader. And the second goal is going to come from the winger we've just seen score a goal in Volyashin. Belanova down the right-hand side, very attacking, gets a ball in, and Volyashin finishes it for a nice 2-0 victory. And you can see the tactic is ridiculously dominant in shots, XG, shots on target. Possession-wise, not so much, but it's very quick, it's very fast football, and a very good final to go ahead and win as well. And the Portugal League is the one we have up next, and we obviously won this one as well. 34 games, 28 wins, 4 draws, and 2 losses, which come up against Sporting and Benfica away from home and 1 at home. So not too bad at base season. I'd like to one day go invincible in this one. Evan Nielsen, 25 goals, absolutely smashed it. Sanusi, 14 assists at left back, absolutely smashed it. Bacciarina a 7.59, Sanusi a 7.5, and there's a brand new name in there who you might recognise from the Porto Academy. It's Vasco Suaza. This guy is a ridiculous central attacking midfielder based on stats of how he's playing in the game. Now, this is someone that I have not given much of a chance to so far. I have tried to loan him out a few times. He has been in the B team for the last 2 seasons, but this time, he got called up to the first team where he had a 7.48 average rating season, 10 assists, 5 goals in 19 starts, and is forcing his way into my plans based on how he's playing in game. He's only got 2.5 star ability, so he's not someone that I would normally look at playing, but with the way he is playing with basically a 7.5 average rating with a Moneyball approach, he's got to come into the first team, and you will not believe, season number 5, how good Vasco Suarez gets. He is simply ridiculous. In terms of actually how we done in terms of goals and stuff this season, Evan Nielsen scored 41 goals this season, which is ridiculous. Bacharinia, 22 goals, a 7.49 average rating this season, was simply ridiculous. Also with 15 assists, he has got a very, very good value, and maybe someone we look to move on at that sort of price. Francisco Coenchao, 13 goals, Langoni, 11 goals, but in terms of average rating, it was Bacharinia, Suarza, Sanusi, Bellanova, Evan Nielsen, Terzic, Nico, Claudio Ramos, Grujic, and Diego Costa, who absolutely smashed it. And Diego Costa as well, a 7.1 average rating as a goalkeeper is pretty much unheard of. He had 27 clean sheets this season, and if he's wanted, we'll probably end up leaving at some point in this rebuild, but his value is only £44 million. No one really wants him at the moment, and I'm happy to keep hold of him because he is a superstar goalkeeper that I hope stays here for the whole of this rebuild. And the only other thing we've got to go through is the Champions League. Now, in the round of 16, we faced up against Manchester City. We went ahead and won 4-3 on aggregate in a very great round of 16 for us. Beating Man City is absolutely top. And in the quarterfinals, we beat Chelsea 4-2, making it dominant against English sides. But in the semi-finals, we ended up playing against eventual winners Real Madrid, and we lost 5-3 on aggregate and gave them a real run for their money. So I truly believe we are building this team closer and closer. You can see it in the league, how much we are progressing. We are starting to pull clear of the other teams. Points-wise, we are 7 points clear of Benfica, 11 points clear of Sporting. We are starting to sort of break away from the Portuguese league and put ourselves at the top of European football. So the semi-finals, I'm very, very happy to go ahead and get to, but there is a next step to go ahead and get to, of course. But as it is with Moneyball, a lot of our players are wanted. Our 2 DMs are wanted. Pretty much everyone in the front line is wanted. The back line, not much interest, which is good to see. We'll have to see who ends up leaving the club, though, because this could be a make or break season. We're either going to get lots of offers, everyone's going to leave, and we're going to have to rebuild, which means our Champions League dream is dead, or we managed to rebuild perfectly. Well, if we do rebuild them correctly, it just got a tiny bit harder because our superstar goalkeeper Diego Costa has left the club to Newcastle. £50 million is what he has gone for, and I am absolutely gutted because there was not a sniff of interest in him, but 50 million quid in the Portuguese league for a goalkeeper, I can't really go ahead and turn that down at £175 million value. It has left us a little bit in the mud, but luckily the old Moneyball approach has brought out a absolute superstar and someone that I have to say I do know about, and as soon as I saw his name on the spreadsheet I was like, yes, that is our guy. It is Kasper Tobias. Now, I don't actually think I've signed him on this year's version of FM, but last year he was my go-to bargain goalkeeper, and for £3.3 million, yes, £3.3 million, he has come in to be our goalkeeper. £47 million we have just gone ahead and made from that sale and the incoming of Tobias, and he looks absolutely outrageous. 17 determination, 16 kicking, 61-1, 17 passing, 17 rushing out, 18 work rate, 16 jump and reach, and he can also run up and down the field with 16 natural fitness. He's extremely consistent and loves big matches, and I think Mr. Tobias is a very, very good person to replace Diego Costa for us. So I'm happy to go ahead and bring him in. In case he is not, I've also brought in Yakib Kinirakin. He is a Ukrainian keeper brought in from Dnipro. He is pretty much going to be the backup, let's be honest. He's consistent. He was brought in for just £3.5 million after having some great seasons over in Ukraine as well. I decided to go ahead and bring him in and see if he can keep that progression up while being the backup to a superstar like Kasper Tobias. So welcome in him. And our other signing is another Ukrainian centre-back, Anton Bowl. This guy is 23 years of age, very determined, has the Holy Trinity, 13 heading, 13 marking, 13 tackling. We absolutely love to see it. He's consistent, looks very, very good. Signed for £2.5 million. Again, a backup centre-back. Let's hope he can be a superstar. And a backup central defensive midfielder has been brought in Artem Karpukias, but this guy could go on to be a superstar. 16 stamina, 16 work rate, and 16 tackling means him as a ball midfielder on support excites me a hell of a lot. He is consistent. He's Russian, 24 years of age, signed for £5.25 million. Has been great over at Lokomotiv Moscow for the last 3 seasons. So I hope he'll be a superstar for us here as well, which means the team actually hasn't changed too much other than a brand new goalkeeper, Belanyova at right back, Baselli, Carmo, Sanusi, Nico, Varela, Langoni, Gulkerson, Vetrina, and Evan Nielsen has now taken that top spot just for himself. Vasco Suarez is going to play a hell of a lot this season. Volyashin, Thiago, Francisco Coenchao, Karbukas, Fonseca, Terzic, Bol, Utskus, Sanchez, and Kinirekin are the backups we have got here at the club as well. I am very excited. Finances are looking superb. £241 million of balance, and transfer budget wise, if anyone does want to pick this up on Patreon, you've got basically £200 million to spend, and this is only season 3. We've got 2 more seasons to add to that, so let's go ahead and see what we can go ahead and do. Well, it seems to me like Real Madrid have got an agenda of what we are doing here at Porto, because they've gone ahead and battered us 4-1 in the quarterfinals, and of course we met them again, where of course they went ahead and knocked us out, because look at that team. Courtois, Coyote, Militao, Romero, Mendy, Esposito, Valverde, Camavinga, Rodrigo, Vinicius Jr. and Karim Canate up front is a pretty ridiculous side. The side we fielded was Tobias, Terzic, Bol, Boselli, Sanusi, Nico Varela, Volyashin, Langoni, Suarza and Evan Nielsen. But we were outclassed in the Champions League by pretty much the best team in the world. They lost in the final to Arsenal, who I'm not going to say are the best team in the world because I simply do not believe it. But Arsenal have gone ahead and won the Champions League in season number 4. We clean sweeped everything else, of course. The Super Cuppa, we won 2-1 against Moreirense. The Allianz Cup, we went ahead and won 1-0 against Benfica on penalties, so a very good season there. And the Taça de Portugal, a 1-0 victory against Benfica. And in the league, 86 points. We absolutely smashed it again, of course. I think we've even made a sort of increase in our European coefficients, because now 3rd place is done to get a Champions League spot. So you're welcome, Benfica and Sporting. I'm getting you know, another chance to get in the Champions League because I am the greatest manager of all time. Evan Nielsen with 28 goals this season was simply fantastic. Belanyova, Sanusi, Terzic, all 3 wing-backs smashing it, and Terzic and Belanyova both with 11 assists this season, and Kasper Tobias down here, and the 2nd place in the clean sheets column is absolutely love to see. But that's 4 in a row for Sporting, and again a season nearly going invincible. 2 losses both away from home against Braga and Benfica, both within a goal. So close to the invincible season, and I would absolutely love to try and do that for season number 5, so we'll have to see what we can go ahead and do. But again, this season was fantastic in terms of average ratings. Tobias a 7.06, a great replacement of Costa. Belanyova at 7.52, Carmo 7.09, Sanusi 7.52, Sebastian Baselli was 7, is still very, very good. Nico 7.3, Varela 7.05, Langoni just a 6.95, and with a value of 30 to 33 million pounds is wanted by Al Ali, so maybe someone to go ahead and move on. Gilkerson 7.25, Baturina 7.17, Evan Nielsen a 7.13. Kira Keane when he played was great, as was Jorge Sanchez, as is Alexis Terzic, who is now rotating with Sanusi a hell of a lot. Karbukas, our brand new DM signing, was fantastic, 7.02 as a backup is brilliant. Coenchao was still great. Vasco Suarez is playing pretty much every single game at this point. He is 5th in terms of games played, and this season 7.34, 15 goals, 13 assists in 48 games, and still just a 2.5 star current ability player. So not always do you need to listen to what your scouts are saying, because players can play outrageous, and when you actually look at what he can do as an attacking midfielder on attack, look at all the green stats: 15 technique, 16 passing, 12 long shots, 14 anticipation, 14 agility, 15 decisions, 17 flair, and 15 on the ball. And going to the blue stats, 18 vision, 16 composure, 11 finishing, great agility. This guy just suits the position down to a T and is playing at an absolutely outrageous level. So Vasco Suarez, like I said, for season 5 is going to be absolutely ridiculous. Finances wise, there's £275 million in the bank. The Boars want me to go ahead and try and spend £226 million in transfer budget, and £1 million pretty much in wage budget as well. I think we've made them one of the richest clubs in the world, which is very, very good to see. And in terms of the youth as well, we've not really touched on it too much, because I've got a bit of a thing with our youth system and what I want to do with Moneyball and want to go ahead and do in the future. It's one that I'll be using in the future as well. With the younger kids that come through the academy, I want to go ahead and make them prove to me that they can do it in the first team by getting an over a 7 average rating in men's football. No one here has gone ahead and done it, but there is some fantastic wonder kids coming through, like Diogo Costa, who is a far 4.5 star potential wing back. Looks very, very good. Needs to improve just a tiny bit in terms of crossing and dribbling. Maybe suits the DM role even better. He actually looks very good as a DM. Stanley Aliu is a fantastic DM. Absolutely brilliant. But dropping a 6.93. Would I sign him if he was on that WONDERKIDS squad? Well, on the Moneyball scouting list? No, I wouldn't. So he doesn't come into the first team. Thiago Ferreira, 3-star potential. Not quite as good, but a very good backup goalkeeper. Needs to go ahead and prove it. Royce Farina is really frustrating because he's 5-star potential, 3-star current ability, but not proving it in the actual game. 0 assists, 5 goals. I want to see a lot more from you. So another loan deal is in. David Ferreira, 4-star potential, not doing fantastic in the actual game. So we'll go ahead and get him out on loan again. It's a sort of a philosophy that I actually quite like. I want to see players go out there and absolutely smash it, and then you can come back and play in our first team. It's something that I might go, going forward, I might actually be using as well. So I quite like that approach. I think it works quite well. Go ahead and smash it over in someone else's club, and then we'll take you back for free as a fully developed superstar, and you can come straight into the team, which is absolutely brilliant. This season, again, though, is another difficult one. Lots of players wanted. Belanova wanted, has been outraged the last 2 seasons by Man City, Newcastle, Al Nassr, Nico by Bayern Al Nassr, and Varela by Al Nassr as well. So both our DMs could be going. Langoni, like I said, also wanted. Evan Nielsen is now wanted by Al Nassr, £40 million. Karpicus is wanted by Al Ali for £16 million, so potentially could be leaving as well. But this season's the last season of the rebuild. We need to keep hold of our superstars, or we're not going to be able to go that next level. But that's not what Moneyball is, and you have to accept the big money when it comes calling. So Nico went off to Real Madrid for £60 million, rising up to 75 million. A very, very good sale for a club in Portugal, given he was signed for just £7 million from Barcelona. He has been fantastic, but we've got to go ahead and replace him. And like I said, that is the point in Moneyball. Just like selling Raul Belanova, this guy we brought in for £24.5 million at the top of our range. We've sold him for double that to Aston Villa for £45 million, rising to £50 million, and I'm very happy with the sale. But he has now got a value of £100 million and is a big, big miss in our side because he is absolutely fantastic. And we have lost 2 unbelievable right backs in just a short space of time. And Anton Bo and Fran Navarro all left as well for a fee of £10 million combined. And we only spent £30 million overall. And the first signing is Igor Daviv. This guy is a superstar centre-back. £14.5 million to £17 million value. £7.5 million is what we spent. He has had 4 seasons in a row above a 7. Last season, a 7.4. And tell me this guy is not just an absolute beast. 13 heading, 16 determination, 16 concentration, 16 bravery, 17 natural fitness, 14 marking, 13 tackling, 6'4". I love it. He's a big, meaty man. He's very, very consistent. He loves big matches. Welcome, Igor Daviv. He is 27 years of age at the top, but a very, very good signing. And one to come in and replace Nico is 26 years of age. It's Kevin Castaño. He is extremely consistent. He loves big matches, and his stats all around are simply fantastic. And we brought him in for £8 million, rising to £8 million. We sold Nico for 75 million quid. This guy just had a 7.52 over at St. Petersburg. If he can do the same here, he'll go ahead and replace Nico like that, and that will be the absolute dream. He's a Colombian young central defensive midfielder who looks fantastic, extremely consistent, loves big matches, hopefully an absolute superstar. A central attack midfielder signing that I have never heard of before, but is going to be on everyone's games, is Geronimo Russo. This guy's got 16 finishing, 16 technique, 16 agility, 16 natural fitness. He loves big matches and extremely consistent. His value is so cheap because we paid just £5.75 million for him, and at Newell's last season he got just over a 7 with 5 goals and 5 assists. But trust me, this guy is fantastic, and I've got no idea how he's valued so cheaply, because at the end of the season you will see what his stats are. He looks fantastic, and what a player to go ahead and bring in. And to replace Raul Belanova as our wingback is a wingback / central defensive midfielder. It's the best I could find. It's Daniil Denisov. He looks fantastic, an attacking right wing back. Good crossing, good first touch, great aggression and determination, which isn't exactly ideal for a right back, but it was the best I could find in that sort of a spreadsheet. I actually locked myself in the spreadsheet for the whole thing, so it made it quite difficult, but he's extremely consistent. He loves big matches. 7.15 last season, £6 million, an absolute bargain. And the team looks like so. Tobias in goal, Denisov, Deviv, Carmo, Terzic, Castagno, Varela, Gilkison, Swaza, Batarina, and Evan Nielsen. And I just have to say this, lads. Wait 2 minutes, because this schedule I'm about to show you is just ridiculous. I've never had a season as good as this one. So let's get into it. Season number 5, the final season. How are we going to go ahead and do? So at the end of season 5, to confirm to you the transfers we have done: £118 million out, £30 million in, £67 million out, £15 million in, £150 million out, £100 million in, £57 million out, £59 million in, with £88 million going out as well. So about £130 million out, £57 million in. We have used Moneyball for the whole rebuild. In terms of finances, we have now got £352 million in our overall balance, a £340 million transfer budget, and a £1.4 million wage budget. At the start of the season in the Super Tacker, we faced up against Benfica, and just in 8 minutes we went ahead and got the only goal of the game. Some great play, and Zidu Sanusi on the left hand side found Evan Nielsen in the box and dropped to Battaglia, who battered it home for 1-0, and a victory to kick off the season in the Super Tacker. We then played in the League Cup final in the middle of February, and again had a fantastic run in this one. Got to the final for every single season. Batarina scored a screamer from the edge of the box after a ball from Varela. Varela's then going to find a ridiculous ball down the line to Francisco Coenchao. He's not quite going to get the end of it, but he's going to have the anticipation to find Evan Nielsen in the box for 2-0 from an interception. And you can see them Porto fans behind the goal going mental already as Langoni gets a screamer into the back of the net to make it 3-0. And that is 4 Allianz League Cups in just 5 years. A superb start to our cup runs in the season. Next up was the Taca de Portugal, where we faced my favourite beer in the final, Estrella, and we battered them 3-0 in this one as well. Vasco finding Denisov getting into the box to make it 1-0 in just the 2nd minute before a build-up from the back from Baselli finds Carpicus. Great ball over to Francisco Coenchao, who batters it home for 2-0. And then the 3rd goal is going to come late on the 85th minute. Coenchao whipping it in. Evan Nielsen tries to win the header. Igor Deviv does win it. The 6'4" beast finds Evan Nielsen, and Evan Nielsen pokes it home for 3-0. Estrella managed 1 shot all game. We had 17 shots, 8 on target, a 1.76 XG, 56% possession, and we're absolutely fantastic to lift another Super Tacker. Again, our 4th in 5 years. We have had quite the run in terms of trophies, and that doesn't stop there as well, because we have won the Liga Portugal, but we have gone invincible with 34 games, 31 wins, 3 draws, 0 losses, 94 goal difference, 96 points. I cannot say how good the Moneyball approach is enough, and this tactic, of course, is absolutely brilliant, but I cannot believe this season. I've never gone invincible myself, so I'm absolutely buzzing. We scored 112 goals and conceded 18 all season. We only kept 55% of the ball, but if you've got players which are playing well throughout the seasons and are on some ridiculous form, it doesn't matter, because when they go into a new club, they go into their new game, and they've got good adaptability, they're going to come in and absolutely smash it. And it is 5 out of 5 for Porto. Evan Nielsen this season was a little bit good with 38 goals, a 7.6 average rating. Coenchao 15 assists, and Gilkison with 13 assists as well. But there is one thing that has eluded us this whole time. And in the semi-finals, we faced up against our arch rivals Real Madrid away from home in the first leg. We go ahead and get an early lead through Zaidu Sanusi. Baselli then on the ball, build up from the back, finds Castagno. A ridiculous ball through to Francisco Coenchao, who of course finishes home to make it 2-0. Before Real Madrid are going to go ahead and peg us back. We're going to get an interception. Denisov finds Baselli. Denisov, shocking ball back. Karim Konate finishes at home to make it 2-1. Kasper Tobias, no chance of saving that. And then Real Madrid are going to turn some magic on. Vinicius Jr. is going to just be fantastic. Finds the furthest on the edge of the box, and it's a great finish in the 78th minute, but that Porto spirit was not over. Denisov with the ball into Cohen-Shao, into Vasco Suarza, the man I have been waffling on about for the last 3 seasons as a superstar. Cam gets the winner in the 86th minute and sets us up to go back to the Porto Stadium, where hopefully we can keep our 3-2 lead. And of course, the Estadio de Drogo was absolutely buzzing when we went ahead and went 1-0 up. Antunes finding Francisco Cohen-Shao down the line in the 80th minute, made it 4-2 in aggregate. For the 82nd minute, Real Madrid got one back. Militao finding Ardagula to Michel Kiyode, who made it 1-0 in this leg, but that was all she wrote. And a 4-3 victory in the semi-finals of the Champions League sets up the final of the Champions League, where we faced up against Italian giants AC Milan. We have made it all the way to the final, and not only did we make it all the way to the final, we made it all the way to the 119th minute, where we're going to get our winning goal. Turns it down the right-hand side, finds it inside. Thiago doesn't quite poke it home, one of our first signings. And in the first season, we also signed Tobias Gilkison, who scored the winning goal in the Champions League final for FC Porto in the 119th minute, which is absolutely unbelievable. But it's not even the best thing, because we're going to start from the top of our schedule and we're going to scroll down. And we went unbeaten not only just in the league, but in the Liga Portugal, in the Super Taça, in the Super Cup, in the League Cup, in the Champions League. We went unbeaten for the whole entire season. I have never done that in my life. We won every single competition. This tactic in the data hub looks absolutely ridiculous. 3.29 goals scored per game, 0.53 conceded. And the team we finished off with was one we built from using the Moneyball approach, setting players high, buying players low. We finished off with Kasper Tobias, Daniel Denisov, Igor Daviv, David Carmo, Alexa Terzic, Alan Varela, Kevin Castaño, Tobias Gilkison, Vasco Suarza, Martin Batrinia, and Evan Nielsen. What a team. And someone that I want to just a really good shout out to is Geronimo Russo, the guy we signed at the start that I said had no value. Put in a 14-goal, 11-assist season at 23 years of age. His first season in Portugal in 27 starts, 7.35 average rating. Extremely consistent, loves big matches. Go ahead and sign him in your saves. He looks absolutely fantastic. Nazar Volyashin didn't play much this season, but over the course of this rebuild has been a key member as one of our wingers for just £11.5 million. Luca Lagoni, again, didn't end up getting his big move to Saudi Arabia that he wanted, so stayed at the club, but still a very, very good season. 6.94 average rating overall, has been above a 7 in every other season, has been simply fantastic. Signed for £15.5 million. Francisco Cohen-Shao, we signed for £8.5 million at the start, has been above a 7 for every single season, other than the signing we actually signed him for £8.5 million. He played just 12 games, so a very, very good signing. Artem Kapukias this season with a 6.94, last season 6.99, signed for £5 million from Lokomotiv Moscow. An absolutely fantastic signing, now a value of £30 million. Nicolas Fonseca is someone that's not had as much love in this rebuild, but £12 million what we spent on him from River Plate has been a backup the whole time and has not absolutely smashed it, but still a very, very good player and has done well for us when needed. Zaidu Sanusi has been here the whole time, and this season he was just as fantastic as he has been the whole time. He's had a 7.63, 7.51, 7.50, 7.53, 7.49, has been simply outrageous at left back in this whole entire rebuild. So shout out to Sanusi. Sebastian Baselli was our superstar signing at centre back in the sort of third season. £15.5 million, a 6.99, 6.95, 7.01 for 15 million quid. With stats like this, you really cannot grumble at a fantastic signing. Edgar Utikus, when he's been called upon, has been very, very consistent. Around a 6.85 average rating overall. £5.5 million is all we spent on him. An absolute bargain. 53 appearance for Lithuania, extremely consistent and loves a big match. Will be perfect for a team slightly lower than a Champions League side, but be a Europa League side he will be top class at. Jorge Sanchez was signed for £3.4 million. He looks absolutely fantastic. Above a 7 average rating every single season. Now a value of £15 million, 30 years of age, has been simply fantastic. Evan Nielsen at the start of this rebuild was a little bit slow, a 6.72, but you give him the reins, 7.1 7.1, 14 goals. 7.36, 25 goals. 7.31, 28 goals. And a 7.6 with 38 goals in 29 games. Evan Nielsen is a superstar and looks absolutely brilliant. Martin Battaglini was again one of our first signings, a 7.23 this season, 7.59 in one of the seasons, has been simply ridiculous. One of the best players in this team, 16 determination, great composure, great dribbling. What a player. Tobias Gilkison was again one of our very early signings for £4.8 million, has been above a 7 for every single season, £45 million value now, an absolute superstar. Kevin Cassano was signed this season for £8 million, dropped to 7.18, increases value for £26 million, and is going to be an absolute superstar going forward as well. Alan Varela signed, well not signed, has been here from the start of the rebuild, but signed in real life this season for £6.75 million from Boca Juniors. Has hit over a 7 in every single season, now has a value of £52 million, and is wanted by none other than Al Ittihad, and I'm sure he's going to go ahead and join them. Alexa Terzic this season, again, absolutely brilliant, 7.22 average rate, and last season a 7.46 signed for £13 million, value now £35 million. Another great signing, David Carmo, has been here the whole time, £17 million what he was signed for from Braga a few seasons ago, and it took a while to get going, but once he did, very consistent, absolutely fantastic. Now value of £60 million and wanted by Al Nassr. Of course, the Saudis are going to come and absolutely tear up this team. Igor Daviv this season, 6.93 average rating in the 24 games he did play. He wants to go ahead and play every single game. He's wanted by Al Nassr. £21 million would be, again, a very good sale, tripling the money we spent on him. And Danny Denisov, again, this season, right back, signed to replace Raul Belanova, 7.15, £6 million, value of £20 million, 7.07, very good signing. And finally, Kasper Tobias, £3.3 million we spent on him, back-to-back seasons above a 7. This season conceded 14 goals in 32 games in the league, which is stupendously good and is an unbelievable goalkeeper. And that is the full entire squad in this Porto rebuild. I have had such a fun time using the Moneyball approach, rebuilding Porto, and I think I've done the best job I've ever done in a rebuild, making a club now the best in the world. And it's only taken me 5 seasons, and like I said, buying high, selling low. That is the Moneyball approach. Enjoy the rebuild files you pick up on Patreon. If you haven't watched any other rebuild files previously, there's a link down there. There's a link down there to what YouTube thinks you should go ahead and watch, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you next time.